Hello and welcome back to Creative CEO. Happy New Year. I hope you had a lovely Christmas. I was so poorly during Christmas. It feels like such a blur. I started being poorly on like the 23rd, and then I don't know how I managed to get through like all of the days, but it just felt like I was just in this constant flu like coma, which is very unlike me. I'm not normally poorly that much, but I think I realized that maybe this is the one downside of not being a teacher anymore, because I would normally be in school mixing with all the germs. And I think my body this year, because I haven't been in a school since July, I think my body's stopped building antibodies, and it got hit by a little bit of a bug and it just went, whoa, this is hard. So yeah, it was a bit of a weird Christmas for me, but I do feel very refreshed now. I feel like I've got over it. We had a quiet New Year's Eve and then we went to the Cheltenham races on New Year's Day, which was really fun. Normally in January, for the entire of the winter, I am just grumpy as hell. And every Sunday, I just dread the Mondays. But ever since I quit my job, that has just not been the case. I've not got much planned at all in January. And I'm just happy that I've got time to sit and do some more art. I've got art that I need to create for the gallery, which is what's actually behind me. And I have got lots of commissions booked in. I'm booked out till the end of August. So I'm absolutely buzzing for 2025. Funny enough, I was thinking about this the other day. There's one thing that I am missing about not being in an environment where I've got colleagues, and that's because I really struggle and with feeling quite lonely, that I don't have anyone to bounce any ideas off. And it's a bit of a strange feeling, because I absolutely love working from home and I love being my own boss, but when it comes to being stuck on something or not having a clue how to move forward, I really struggle coming up with ideas without talking to somebody. And I can talk to my husband and I can talk to my mum and I can talk to my dad. They're good at listening, but they don't have the experience that I need for somebody to actually give me proper advice. And that's something that I've realised is one of the hardest things about being on your own and being self-employed and being the only one in your team. And that is what I want to achieve with this podcast, is being that person for somebody else. But obviously there's still things that I'm learning. And I think that's something that I've realized is one of the hardest parts of becoming full-time and just working on yourself, is not having the sort of the support that you would get from a team, even if you were the boss of the team. So when I was a teacher at a special needs school, I was the boss of my little team, even though I didn't feel like it because I was the less experienced. Technically, in terms of hierarchy, I was in charge. But every single day, whenever there was a problem, or not even just a problem, even if we were just deciding what to do for the day, I would always ask my team, and I would always like double check with them whether they think that was okay. Maybe that's a bit of an insecurity. Maybe I just need to be better at being like, no, this is exactly what we're doing and we're going for it. And maybe I'm missing the kind of the having the somebody tell me that I am making the right decision. But yeah, that's something that I found is strangely something that I miss. Not that I am going back to teaching. I am definitely set on this for life. But yeah, it was just something I was pondering over the Christmas holidays, and that's what I want this podcast to be for other people. I think I've still got the teachiness in me, and not that I'm trying to teach people anything, but I'm just trying to be, I want to be more like a mentor to other artists and other creative business owners, because I think I like having that. I like having the empathy for people, and I like being able to share my knowledge, and I like to be able to talk to people about their ideas and their businesses. So one of my sort of aims for 2025 is just to have more conversations with people, just to speak to more people and try and build the community that I need to help me develop as an artist and a business owner, that I don't get from colleagues anymore. As it's the new year and as it's a great time of reflection, I'm going to talk about what didn't work in 2024 and what did work in 2024, and how I'm going to use those lessons to set my goals for 2025. So one of the things that didn't work very well in 2024 was I had a couple of videos really take off. And these are Instagram Reels and TikTok. And I don't know why I did this, but I started a wait list. I think it's because I was getting such an influx of inquiries. I had over 100 people over across 2 different wait lists eventually, and I was getting constant emails and constant messages, and I think I was just a bit overwhelmed. I was like, oh, I'm just going to put everybody on a wait list, and then I'm going to email them in January or February. And what I did was I had a list of emails, and I actually messaged the first wait list in November, and I got maybe 3 or 4 commissions off the back of that waitlist. And then I emailed the second half of my waitlist in December. But for the second half of my waitlist, I didn't get any people coming back to me. And I think it could have been a couple of things. It could have been the time of year. It could have been because it was around Black Friday and emails get lost a lot more. Or it could have been just I didn't capture people and I didn't get them booked on when they were first keen. And I think that's something that I hadn't really foreseen. I thought if people give me an email list and email address, then they're more than likely to go ahead with a commission. But a lot of them actually didn't. The vast majority of them didn't. They either didn't get my email or they didn't see my email. It went into their junk or something, or they saw it and they went, nah, I'm not. That was like I wanted to do it at the time, and then she put me on a wait list, and then I don't want it now. So that's something that I need to really think about next year is, do I want to have a wait list, or do I just want to get people booked in, even if it's booking them in 6 months plus in advance, which I'm now doing because now I'm booked out till August. I am taking on bookings for September. So that's something that I'm going to really think about is I need to work on a smoother transition from when I get a request in to actually booking them on. Do I automate it? Do I put dates on my website and people just select a time of the year? I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet, but that's something that I've thought about. I need to work on. And if you are a commission-based business as well, really start to think about what the whole process is of somebody seeing your artwork. How do they easily find your contact details or find your website, and really consider the customer journey from making a request to getting booked on. And so far it's worked fine for me because I've never been booked out so far in advance, and I've always just, when people have inquired, I've got them booked on straight away. But there's something to do with this wait list didn't do as well as I thought. So I'm not saying don't ever do a wait list, but just for me, maybe it was the time of year, but I'm going to consider the whole onboarding process from somebody wanting a commission to actually getting booked on. What does that look like, and how can you make it as smooth as possible for your potential clients to actually, so that you retain them as a customer? Another thing that didn't go so well was Black Friday. I found it a real struggle, not because I wasn't prepared. I'd actually prepared a good 6 weeks in advance. I actually downloaded a Black Friday blueprint from Michelle Gifford, and it was really informative. But I think for me, because I'm such a small business and because I don't have a huge email list yet, and because I'm a little fish in a big pond, that sort of thing, I think that's one of the reasons that I maybe wasn't seen as much. But at the same time, I know how many people were opening my emails and I wasn't getting the conversion. So it's not just about me being a small business. There was something that wasn't converting them into customers. And that's something that I just have to experiment with, because unless I ask them specifically, why didn't you buy X, Y, and Z at the time, I'm never going to know why. So I'm going to consider whether I really want to do Black Friday next year, or whether I want to do a sale at a completely different time of year, because there will be some people that will not buy anything full price. So maybe by doing them, you're helping widen your customer demographic. And also doing show discounts at events, because you're not having to pay for postage. So that's a good reason for you to do a little bit of a discount, because you're not then having to fork out for postage. It's good getting people to buy in person as well, because it really helps you, and people are more likely to buy like spontaneously off the cuff if they really like something. Considering different times of the year to make sales or to push harder on the sales, I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, but that was something that was a bit of a struggle. I did a couple of in-person events last year, which were really fun, and I learned a huge amount. And because of those in-person events, I think that's why was able to quit my job. I had such more success seeing people in person. It's definitely helped me to quit my job, but I felt like I could have done more to engage people in my stand. That was something that when I went to the National Equine Show, I went with a draw. I just had an outline of a drawing of some horseshoes, and I think I completed like this much of just like a small square of the horseshoes. And because colour pencil is such a slow medium, I don't think it was very engaging, because even though people could see me drawing and some of them were stopping and going, oh, look at her, she's doing the actual art, it was such a small section that they couldn't see like what the final picture could be. And I think that's something that I learned is I need to go to these events with a drawing that's pretty much finished, and then I just need to finish it off whilst I'm at the event, because when you've got a slow medium like colour pencil or pastel, you don't have the time to finish an entire piece, especially if you're busy and you're trying to chat to people as well. But that's just something that I realised about last year. Maybe something for you to think about if you're looking at doing in-person events and you're an artist or you've got a craft. Definitely sit down and stand up and do your craft in front of people. It was the biggest advice that I had from another artist, and she was absolutely right about you should be doing something, because then they can really understand that what you've got for sale or you've got showing on your stand, you've done by hand. Lots of people just don't even realize that you might have done it by hand. I thought it was so obvious that I would have done it by hand, but lots of people still need to be almost visually shown that you are the artist, and it's a really good way of getting people to interact with you. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm going to work on at my 2 events next year. One thing that I definitely didn't do in March last year was I wasn't very good at getting people's email addresses at the National Equine Show, and there was a lot of missed opportunities there. So for the game fair, I did give me your email address and you'll be entered into a prize draw. And I got hundreds of email addresses. It was fantastic. And I put them all into my email system. And there was one winner, and I gave her the option. I said, you can either just take it as the size that it is, or you can upgrade to a larger size and just pay the difference. And she paid the difference. So that was brilliant, because I still got more money. I still earned money from the prize draw that I was doing. But even if she didn't upgrade it and I was just giving away a portrait for free, I then got, I can't remember, I basically filled my entire diary with people from the game fair because I'd got enough email addresses. So very happy that I did that. So I've just talked about what didn't work and how I'm going to improve that next year. Now I want to talk about what did work. So I introduced a direct debit scheme. It's made a huge difference. I think at least half of my commission clients for 2024 and the ones that I've got booked in for 2025 have done a direct debit scheme. And what's great is they pay off for them. They start a direct debit and it's paid off before they've even got their portrait. So by the time it comes to getting their portrait, they've got nothing left to pay. And I think psychologically that feels quite nice because you've already paid for it. If you are new to doing commissions, I think you need to build up a reputation before you do that. I used to do a deposit, and it was a really tiny deposit, like £50 or something, and then the rest was payable upon completion. But sometimes I was struggling to get the client to pay the final amount, even though psychologically it helped me because I was doing their drawing. And even if I was feeling a bit tired after my full days of teaching, I was like, no, come on, I'm working towards like getting a nice payout of money. But now that I have seen the good and the bad of doing the whole deposit and then pay upon completion thing, I'm now much happier knowing that I've got payment up front before I've started the work, because they've got to trust me, because they've given me money and I haven't given them anything back. But I've got a reputation. I've got a very strong social media presence. I've put my face out everywhere. I've got reviews. I'm not shying away from being a strong presence online. And I think that helps. I am a trustworthy person. And I think it's because I've built that reputation that people are happy to do that. And it's definitely been the biggest help for getting commissions, I think, is doing the direct debit scheme. And I use a company called Go Cardless. If you want to use Go Cardless, please send me a message, because if I refer you, then I get £100 from Go Cardless. So I am very happy to refer you, and then I can get a little bit of cash back, because that'd be nice for me. And it's free to set up. They do take a little fee, but it's not a huge amount. So say the direct debit was £76 a month, I think I get £74.50 or something like that. So you do lose a little bit, but I think it's very normal. I think I'm learning also that you have to accept that there are going to be bank charges for things and for international payments. So I think they're just the sort of the bank charges that you get and everything. That's just part of having a business, and it's good to find ways to reduce those costs as much as possible. Cardless are fantastic, and it's so easy to set up. All you need to do is make an account, and then when somebody wants to set up a direct debit, you just need their email address and you add them to a subscription template, which I've just got all my templates set up as for a small portrait. It's this amount a month. And then you put in their email address. I always give people the option of what date do they want the direct debit to come out, as long as the first date of the month falls on a weekday. Otherwise, Go Cardless won't take it out to the following month, and then you're a month behind. I just try and give them as much autonomy over the direct debit as possible. Please let me know if you want to set yourself up for Go Cardless, and I will refer you to it. What also worked in 2025 was being more open about my art and talking about it, doing talking head videos or talking head reels, which don't do as well in terms of they don't have as much reach, or they've never had as much reach for me. But I think it's good for nurturing your current audience and actually talking about why the art means something to you, rather than just, I've made this, please buy it. I've found I'm getting better at understanding the deeper meaning behind my art, which I've never really liked doing. I've always been a bit against talking about all the deeper understanding of art, and that's never really been my approach to it. I've just loved creating animal art, and I love the British countryside, and I love horses, and I've always just kept it more on a surface level. But I'm trying to think a bit more deeply. I don't have to go in and use lots of emotive language, but I think it's good to be able to say more about your art than the sort of the surface level stuff. So that's definitely helped. And I think because if people are going to spend lots of money on your art, they want to see your connection with it as well. Another thing that's really helped was towards the back end of 2024, I changed my email system to Klaviyo, and I was a bit hesitant because I was using MailChimp and I really enjoyed MailChimp, but it's so much smarter than MailChimp. It's got a lot more features, and I have noticed ever since I set up a pop-up on my website to give people a discount code if they sign up to my email address, and then that code links to my Klaviyo account and my Shopify store. I've seen a huge conversion of sales just through that one little pop-up, which I found is a lot more sophisticated in Klaviyo than it was in MailChimp, and it just looks a lot nicer in Klaviyo. So that was definitely something that definitely worked in 2025. It's so good to reflect. And if you're listening to this, you might be at the start of your business journey. You might be a couple of years into your business journey. Whatever stage you're at, it's always good to reflect. And it's always good to accept that you are going to make mistakes and you are going to continue to learn lessons. And I'm looking forward to knowing what I'm going to learn in 2025. So I basically take my reflections, which is what I've just talked about, and I've used them as a way to set my goals for 2025. And I just wanted to talk through my goal setting procedure. And I love goal setting because it's great to actually get things written down. And I think throughout the whole of the Christmas period, I was so poorly. I didn't have a chance to think about my 2025 goals too much. In fact, I know I did a podcast episode before Christmas about setting your goals before the new year starts. And I do stick by that. But at the same time, I think I've realized that even if I wasn't poorly, you just want to relax during Christmas, don't you? And you just want to spend time with your family and your friends. And I think I had an idea about my goals because I had thought about it before Christmas, but it wasn't until I got out of that those weird couple of weeks where you're just eating and drinking and, in my case, coughing and blowing my nose all the time. But I think it's good to think about your goals pre-Christmas. So I do stick by what I said last episode, but on reflection, actually the real goal setting, it's fine to leave it until the new year, because you come out of that like weird time and into, I almost think that it's like a clear head time. So my goal setting procedure is I always start by thinking about what I want to do in 5 years' time. And this might look different to my goals that I set a year ago, because it's okay for your goalposts to change, and it's okay, to backtrack on something that you said, and it's okay to change your mind, basically. So I always start with, what's my 5-year dream? What am I manifesting? What do I want my life to look like in 5 years' time? And I like to really sit and feel how that feels day to day. What does my day to day look like? How much money am I making? Where am I living? What does my studio look like? What am I doing with my horses? How many children do I have? Or I literally think about how I live day to day in 5 years' time and what I'm spending my money on. And it's a good way of helping you manifest your dreams and manifesting abundance, which is something that I really got into last year. So that's your 5 years' time. And then I always set a goal for a year's time. So this time next year, or this time Christmas 2025, where do I want to be? What do I want to have achieved in a year? And it's weird going from 5 years to a year, because all of a sudden we're already in the year. That's only 12 months away. That's not a lot, but it's good to really do the same, sit in that moment and sit in the feeling of what you want your life to be like in a year's time. Then I split that yearly goal, that yearly dream, into quarterly goals. So what do you want to have achieved in the first quarter of business, which is my birthday, the end of March? What do you want to have achieved by the end of the first quarter? What I don't do is then I don't set the quarter 2 goals. I don't set my quarter 3 goals and my quarter 4 goals. I just set my quarter 1 goals, because again, they will change, and you might achieve more than you wanted to, you might achieve less, and then you'll have to move the goalposts for the next quarter. Even though I love having a plan and I don't like change, I do accept that in business things will change. So by only planning the first quarter for your real kind of detailed goals, means you're not wasting your time setting all of them. I would say I think it's best to look at your goals towards the end of quarter 1 and then plan the next quarter. Also, it's just so much fun planning, you don't want to do it all in one go. So for each quarterly goal, this year I did something a bit different, and I broke it down into what the actual overall business goal is. So for each quarterly goal, for each quarter, I set myself 4-5 actual specific goals for that quarter. And I start with, what's the overall business aim? What's the business goal that I want to achieve? And then I set myself work or art related goal. So what actual creative bits do I need to do to help me achieve the whole business goal? And then what do I need to do on Instagram or across my other social media platforms to help me achieve that business goal? And it's good to really think about the different areas of your business, because there are so many different elements that go into making a business. And sometimes it's easy to have the goal or have the work goal and then forget that you need to market yourself as well, or you need to do the admin side of it, or you need to do your account side of it. One of my goals is I want to improve my ability to live draw. And that what I've just said there is not a SMART goal. You need to think about SMART goals. So SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So I want to complete a live drawing of Nosy Pony in a day at the National Equine Show. So I've got a really specific goal. I know exactly where I want to achieve that goal. It's measurable because I know whether I've met the goal by the end of the day. It is achievable. I know it's achievable and it is within my capabilities. It is relevant to my overall business goal, which is to improve my live drawing. I want to be better at doing live drawing in general. And it's time bound. So I've got a deadline, which is the 2nd of March. The 1st and the 2nd of March. I want to do 2 drawings. I have got a goal, and that's about 8 weeks away. And I need to do a bit of art to practice that goal. I know that if I just go straight to the National Equine Show with this kind of goal in my head, it's not necessarily going to happen unless I practice. So I'm going to try and get myself to a local equestrian venue and do live drawing where people aren't asking me to do it and they probably don't really care because they'll be there to compete. But I think it's a good way of me getting out of my comfort zone and practicing the live drawing in an environment that's not in my studio. I've got a goal, I've made it smart. I've thought about what work I need to do, which is I need to do a practice. So the Instagram goal would be to create more viral videos of me doing live drawing. And I can do this by creating a bit of a story about it. So there's me going to a competition and me setting up my pencils and my pastels and getting myself ready and capturing people's reactions to it as well. There is definitely an Instagram goal there as well to help me achieve it. But that one is quite specific to like in people, meeting people in person and actually going out of my comfort zone and putting myself in a position where I'm doing work from scratch in front of people that have never seen me before. So that's something that I'm really excited to do. That was me giving you an example of what a SMART goal is and how I think about the different areas of my business, how I can achieve that entire goal. I think goal setting is really fun and it's really good at focusing you. And if you are stuck on what goals that you want to make, I would just get yourself a piece of paper and I call it a brain dump. Just brain dump all the things that you ever want to achieve in your life just on a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be pretty, just scribble it all out. And then select the ones that leap out at you, the ones that you really want to try for now. You don't have to achieve everything in one go. And make sure you give yourself a break if you are still working full time or if you're working part time, or maybe you've got a new baby, or you've just bought a new house and you've got loads of decorating to do. Whatever your life situation is at the moment, give yourself a break. You shouldn't be competing with other people's goals because people's goals will change all the time. I want to have another baby, so hopefully by the end of this year I'll be pregnant. Who knows? So my goals for 2026 are going to probably look very different to my goals for 2025. In 2025, I'm in a better position than I was last year because I haven't got to go to school. I've got 3 days a week where my daughter's in nursery. I've not got a lot going on. I can focus a lot more on my work. My sister's getting married and I am maid of honour, so I've got a lot of stuff to do there. But in terms of my general life at the moment, everything is quieter at the moment. So I've got a lot that I want to stuff into this year because I know 2026, I probably won't be able to do as much. So don't feel like you should be comparing yourself to other people. Just think about what is going on in your life right now. What can you fit in? What can't you fit in? Taking stuff out of your life can also be an opportunity for growth. Don't feel like you've constantly got to add to your business. You can also take away from your business. I've decided to stop doing my homewares because I can't physically fit my homewares into my house. So never feel like you have to just keep adding and adding. Think about what is going on in your life and what you want to and what you can realistically achieve. But make it fun. You can always set a goal and it doesn't have to be met. And that's okay. You don't have to achieve everything. That one particular goal you thought of might not be achieved in the next quarter, but you might decide to move it to the end of the year, or you might decide to tweak your goal to make it more achievable. So it's just all about being kind to yourself, reaching for the stars, but not reaching for the stars so much that you forget to be grounded and you forget to live in the moment and be on earth. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I would love to hear from you. If you would like to chat to me, talk to me about your goals for this year, or if you just need somebody to bounce some ideas off, like I said at the beginning of the episode, just drop me a message on Instagram or Facebook or send me an email. My email address is georgie@georgieturnerartist.co.uk. I would love to hear from you. I'm looking forward to bringing you a lot more content on the podcast in 2025. So thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to leave me a rating and a review. I will read every single review and I will love looking at them. I will speak to you next week. Bye.